I know a lot of guys who never charge for estimates and they don't have an issue with it. My dad doesn't usually charge for estimates. He's been burned. He spent 40 hours estimating this like 300 step staircase that went down to from a house down to a lake dock. And then the guy ended up not being able to get financing. And so it was like, I think I'm going to start charging for estimates. So what can I help you with, my man?
So I have some like construction business related questions. The first one is charging or not charging for estimates.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of people charging for estimates and other people say don't charge. Have you charged in your construction company when you did that, or what's your point of view?
So my point of view, it depends on how long the estimating process is going to. And so like if it comes to like a small bathroom remodel or something, and we're, we do all the work ourselves on little bathroom jobs, that's something that we can usually throw out a ballpark pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go to meet with them, or when the estimator goes to meet with them, we talk about the ballpark and the price and make sure that they're good with that before we go through the estimate. And then give them a bid, like they already know what they're getting. We've already agreed that that's within their price range. So we're not just like hoping that that price fits. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's always super important to talk about budget. Even before I go meet people, I want to know what their budget is. On the contact forms on our remodeling company website, I ask the price budget range. Like 80% of them actually put in a price range. So that's really helpful. Um, for big projects, what we would do is, like when I was doing remodels in Portland, is we would use what's called the cost versus value report. Have you heard of that?
I think so, but not much.
Yeah, so I think it's Remodeling Magazine puts this out every year, and they break the United States into regions, and then they give price ranges for different types of remodels. So like in Portland, if it was a kitchen remodel, we would pull up the cost versus value report for the Portland area, and it would show the low, medium, and high end of a kitchen remodel, and like what kind of finishes are used and what the price range is for that. And we would
Mm-hmm.
be able to tell like pretty much where someone was going to fall based on the price or the value of their home, and like what neighborhood and what style of home they had. Like you're not going to put a cheap dinky little kitchen in $1 million home. And so
Yeah.
we would have a pretty good idea of where they were going to fall on that scale. And we would say like, you know, if for mid-range you're looking at 150,000 to completely renovate your kitchen. So, and then we'd say that and we'd wait for their response. Like some people would be like, "Oh gosh, we were thinking like 30,000. This isn't even possible." And
Yeah.
then other people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's totally fine. We were even thinking a little more than that, whatever." So we give them like, let's just say it's 150,000. If we're going to create like a full-on estimate where we actually price out materials, we get subs to bid on their parts and price out all that, we would charge 3% of that price as the deposit. So if it was 150 grand, we'd charge them 4,500 bucks, and
Mm-hmm.
we would take that, and that's what we would pull off of at $50 an hour. That's what we were charging back then. We'd pull $50 an hour off that to do our estimate and meet with contractors and price materials and get all that. And then we would provide them with a full on price breakdown of every single thing. We showed markup, which go back and forth on. It just depends on your style. If you want to like be completely transparent and show your markup on everything, um, but there's a good case to be made to not do that. Like Nike doesn't tell you how much they profit off of the shoes you buy. So because if you knew, you might not like that. So but anyway, so we'd take 3%, we'd use that, And then if the client decided to move forward, we just apply that deposit they put down towards the total price of the whole project. You know, we priced in our time to estimate and everything. And then if they got the estimate, they decided not to move forward with us, we would just deduct our hourly rate from the deposit and then refund them whatever was left. And that way we're protecting ourselves from wasting a bunch of time doing an estimate.
Gotcha.
So that's how I look at it. Like if it's going to be a bunch of time, like I don't like working for free. And if it's hard to convince a potential customer that you don't want to work for free, they're probably not going to be a great customer anyways. Most people, you know, when you explain like, look, we're going to spend 40 hours like combing through these blueprints or maybe even designing it and pricing everything out, like we can't do that for free. We're too busy to do that for free. So it's kind of up to you. If I was desperate and I needed jobs, you know, I might be a little more flexible on that. So kind of progression thing. I know a lot of guys who never charge for estimates and they don't have an issue with it. My dad doesn't usually charge for estimates. He's been burned. You know, he spent 40 hours estimating this like 300 step staircase that went down from a house down to a lake dock. And he did like 3 trips there and met with subcontractors and did all this stuff. And then the guy ended up not being able to get financing. And so my dad just wasted like 40 hours. And that was when this was just like 2 years ago. And this is when he finally was like, I think I'm going to start charging for estimates. And I was like, see, I've been telling you that for years. And that's why I like the small like bathroom remodel jobs and stuff, because they're so regular. Like we know how much they're going to cost and we can just spit out a price and just get it done. So
yeah, that's typically what we have for our jobs. We mainly do flooring and showers, so I have a much better idea of how much time it's going to take to go out there. It's usually about an hour, and then usually about an hour to do the actual estimate itself. So it's not as detailed as like a full kitchen remodel. But I did a client where I met with them multiple times and spent quite a bit of time, and then they ended up emailing me and saying I'm with a cheaper contractor. So that was like the only instance that I've had where I spent that much time and didn't get the job. So that was going back and forth. Do I charge or do I not charge? Other people also said that if you charge and they don't go with you, that means that they're kind of price shoppers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you had experience with that?
Like if for the estimate and then they don't go through with it, is that what you mean?
If you tell them initially over the phone call that we charge for estimates, and if they say no, then that means that they're just trying to get the best deal possible or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like I do that, you know, with this marketing company, like I have 2 salespeople and if somebody wants me to look at their stuff, we charge $500 for an audit and consultation. And that's basically just so that I'm not wasting my time going through people's stuff who aren't serious. So you could do something similar, like maybe you don't do it every time, but if you sense that they might be high maintenance or they might be price shopping, you can say, hey, just so you know, there's a $150 design consultation fee or whatever. And that's what we charge just, you know, to come out to your place, because we got to drive over there. You know, you can build it up and talk about all the things that go into it. But that if you sense that it's going to be a waste of time, you know, you can throw something like that out there, even like $99. We have a $99 consultation fee. Are you okay with that? And then if they're not willing to spend $100 for you to drive all the way out there and spend an hour or 2 with them, then they're not really that serious about working with you.